Hey everybody, it's Lee at the Fast Lab, and we have another fast tip. And today's focus is going to be on the quads. So why do we want to release tight or overactivated quads? Well, it's usually a chain reaction. A lot of times tight quads will go hand in hand with tight hip flexors. And from previous videos, we've talked about the hazards of a tight hip flexor shutting off the glutes and then overworking the hamstrings in the back. So releasing those tight quads, we can avoid that. The other thing is we can create hamstring inefficiency because that's the opposite muscle group of the quads. So it's very important to release these guys. Now, unfortunately, most of the athletes that we work with are quad dominant. We want all of our athletes to be glute dominant because that's where the speed, the power, and the control comes from. So what do we need to do? Well, let's release them. And we only need one tool, and that's the foam roller. And we also need a body. And here's our body, Coach Kenzie. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is stick with our anchor, engage to disengage philosophy that we've talked about a lot. So with her right quad, she's gonna position herself on that foam roller, okay? And she's gonna find that area of most restriction, which usually corresponds to the area where it's most uncomfortable. Once she's there, now we're going to engage. And what we're gonna engage is the opposite muscle group. So in this case, it's gonna be the hamstrings. So for 4 to 5 repetitions, she's gonna maintain that pressure through that area of the quad, but she's gonna engage that hamstring for the sole purpose of disengaging the quad. Okay, that's what we want to do. We want to release it, we want to disengage it. Now, once she's done with the release, we want to go straight into a really effective quad stretch, and we're going to show you 3 different examples of how to stretch those quads. Okay, there you go with 3 excellent examples of how to stretch those quads. Now that we've got them released and stretched, we want to start the strengthening component. In this case, we want to strengthen the opposite muscle groups, which are the hamstrings. Now, I love to strengthen hamstrings in combination with the glutes because that's basically how they work in unison together to give us hip extension and knee flexion. So we're going to combine the two with one easy exercise that all we need is one piece of equipment, the foam roller that you just used. Okay, so what Kenzie's gonna do, she's gonna activate a hip thrust to pull in those glutes, and then she's gonna pull in those hamstrings by rolling up and then slowly rolling back down. And you can crank out 1, 2, 3 sets of 10 of these, okay? Going nice and slow to give plenty of time for those muscles to engage. And that's a great way to work hamstrings in combination with the glutes. Now, I like for all of our athletes to release the hip flexors and the quads before we start glute strengthening. So we're going to show you our exclusive glute strengthening program called the Booty Program in an upcoming video, so stay tuned.